Hello, everyone. This is a quick training video on how to navigate through Dynamics D365 Finance and Operations. Finances and Operations is accessed through a URL that should have been provided to you. Once you click on that URL, you should be landed to a page similar to what you're seeing right now. If you are at any time wanting to get back to this home page, you can click on either this home button that is on the left side, or you can click on the Finance and Operations text that you're seeing on my screen right here. Let me explain some of the components that are here so you have a better understanding. There is a three bars here. That's called the hamburger menu in the IT world. If you click on that menu, it'll expand this for you. And you can pin it or you can not pin it, in which case it'll hide and give you a little more screen for you to work with. So this there are five components that are here. Of course, I've explained to you the home button. There's the favorite section where you can bookmark things to your favorites for quick navigation, so you don't have to navigate the long way. There is a section for your recent visited menu objects. So if there is activities and you want to get back to it, you can come in here very quickly and just navigate back. There is the workspaces in here. What you're seeing on my screen are the workspace tiles. This is Microsoft's attempt to give you a groupings of similar functions that you may perform, or common functions that you may perform. So for example, there's purchase order preparations, purchase order confirmations. If you go further down, you have the finance period close, you have fixed assets, you have journal processing. Let's click on the journal processing. So once I click on the journal processing, it'll take me to a screen that has a bunch of tiles. So these square screens are called tiles, and they give you a quick synopsis of what's happening by status. So it's my not posted journals. You got 0, you got all not posted journals. There's 4 of them out there, and so on and so forth. On the left side under the journals, you have lists. So if you click on each list, it's again by status, and a lot of it is represented on top. And if you click on the list or click on any of the tiles on top, it'll take you back to a detailed list like this. That'll show you, the listing or the journals that are applicable to that tile or that list. So if you then scroll to the right some more, you will notice that there's more sections out there, and also at the bottom where you can click on for some additional information on these journals. So you can create your journals and so on and so forth. This is applicable to all the other workspaces. The last thing that is here are the module listings. So a lot of the old timers, people like myself and technical people, we end up using these modules quite a bit. So modules are organization of many objects by function areas. So accounts payable, you'll have everything that you need to execute accounts payable activities in this one space. It starts with master data, so you have vendors, then you have transactional workspaces, so you've got, or we call them menu objects, purchase orders, invoice, payments, transactions, and then broker royalty setups and so on forth. Then you have setups, and there's a couple of more things that I think you should be very, inquiries and reports that you should be familiar with, and also periodic tasks. You can go through and explore these on your own to see what's all there. Then, of course, you have the setups and various different type of setups. Now, I am a system admin, so I have access to every function in the system. You may not have access to all these functions and only limited to the roles and responsibilities. So you only see, what's applicable to your functional duties. So that kind of explains to you the hamburger menu. Across the top in the black section, you have what we call the header tile, header bar. If I start from the first one, which is the company selection. So if I click on this one says HO01. If I click on this, it'll give me my list of companies and I can change between companies from here. So if I need to put transactions in, let's say SP01, I will select that and it'll put me into that company database. And from there, I can transact in this company. So that's how you change companies. Next one is the user options, which is the setup dial that you have here. If you click on the setup dial, you'll get user options, you'll get task recordings, and you'll get personalization and mobile apps, which we're not going to discuss. So let's go to user options, which is kind of important for you. The very first one that shows up, which is probably the least important one, is the visual. So you can go ahead and customize your feel and look, and this is strictly personalization for your instance of D365. It does not affect anybody else out there. You can change the color that, if you prefer to see it in green or blue or whatever, you can go ahead and select that. I have selected green so you can see the change. In addition, you can select how many tiles, basically the resolution of your D365. So you can choose to show less but bigger tiles, or you can choose to show more and smaller tiles, right? So it's up to you how much you want to see on your screen. Next one are preferences. So this is kind of important. You can select the company and define in here if you have access to multiple companies or you work with a lot of companies, but there's one company that you work more so than the other, and you always want to start your D365 with that company, then go ahead and set that as your default company. So every time you log in, it'll start with that company, and then you can change the company as you need to. The other thing two more things here on this page that I want to point out is one, the language. You can select your preference of the language that you want to see or work in D365. So all the menu objects then will change to that language. So navigation paths, the D365 options, they'll all change to the language that you have selected in here for you. In addition, you can go ahead and set your time zone. So you can select your time zone to make sure that everything that is shown to you on your screen is represented in your local time. In addition, you can have a different format of date time formats based on the available options. So you can select the one or you leave it blank and it'll kind of default to the standard that is used in the system. Country and region is sometime applicable, and you're welcome to do that. Most of us leave it blank, but it does kind of default some of the local instances or local settings for you. Document handling, this really is administered through the system administrator, and we should have this turned on. But if you're not seeing this little paperclip icons to attach documents, you can come in here and check that. Next one is your account. For most part, you should not have anything in here, but it should be administered for you by the system administrator. But some of the electronic signatures, for example, you can enable your electronic signature if you're going to be out on vacation and you have certain roles and responsibilities that require a designated approver, then you can go in here and put a designated approver for that time period. But make sure that designated approver has the level of security privileges that you have so they can go ahead and execute those tasks for you, okay? Workflows generally are not going to be applicable to you, so I would not really spend any time in here. It will be set up and administered by the system administrators. But in case you have a workflow and you're not getting notifications, you want to come in here and double check this to make sure these things are turned on. If not, then reach out to your system administrator. Task Recorder. It's a very useful tool. Once I click on it, it launches a screen for me, and I can actually create a recording of all the screens. So if I'm having some problems in a journal that's not posting, I can create a task recording that will capture all of the menu paths that I click on to navigate all the little, so for example, if I'm creating a journal, I go to GL journal and all that. So it'll create an entire list of that for me. And then I can go ahead and finish that up and and send that as a Word document, or I can save it, as a technical LCS, lifecycle services, and as a video, and I can send that out to the users or to the system administrator to help me troubleshoot and kind of come back with a resolution. We will discuss more of this in detail when we go through the project, but for now, I'm just pointing that out to you very quickly. Okay. A couple of more things. You have a little bell here. When you're in the system, you'll see this bell, and if you have any, it represents notifications. So if you have notifications or alerts for you to take action in the system, you will see that, and you'll see a number on it to say, hey, you got 4 notifications, similar to what you see in your text on your phones or in your email, that you'll see a little icon here. The other important thing, which is very helpful, is this little magnifying glass. If you click on this, it'll open up a search box for you. So if I want to search general journals, so I just type in, and I don't know where they are. And if I start typing in general journal or start with the description, it will show me all the places that the menu objects or navigation paths where general is used. So that will help you quite a bit. For example, if I use inventory, right? And I need to know how to go and look up inventory, set up inventory, create a journal. It'll help me so if I click on any of these links, it'll hyperlink me back to that menu object, and from there I can execute my functions. Few more things to add in here. I'm going to go back and go to, for example, accounts payable, and I process a lot of invoices on a daily basis, and I don't want to have to click on 1, 2, 3 clicks to get to my invoice journal. So if you notice, the first time I come to invoice journal, there's a little star. If I click on this star, now this star is solid, but it also now shows up. I've just added that to my favorites, and it shows up in my favorites, and I can just click on this and go to it right away. The other things, and this is more, we've talked about workspaces a little bit. I have what we call pending vendor invoices. So you want to make sure you visit the workspace that you're interested in. If you like this and it does not already exist in your workspace, you can go ahead and add this to your workspace by clicking on Options, and then you say Add to my workspace. From here, you're going to select the workspace that you have already predetermined where you want this to be, and then you're going to look for that and add that to the workspace. So now you've customized or personalized this workspace to have things that you want to represent there. The other thing we talked about this already, about the search. On each of the sort of list that you see, what we call grids, there are filter options. So you can click on this down chevron arrow, and it gives you a filter option. So your condition on what you're filtering is whether it begins with or contains. I would suggest you use the contains. It's probably the most user friendly. And then you type in your text for this specific field that you want to filter by. So let's say if I want to filter by blanks, I want to see all the blanks. If I click on that, and it'll just filter everything else and only show me blanks. Okay, I didn't have any data in here, so obviously I'm not seeing anything in here. So these are some of the very basic stuff. We'll cover more in detail as we get into the implementation in the training phase of it, but at least this gives you a general idea of how to navigate within the system. And I'm going to click back on my home button and get back to my home button. Well, a couple of things I'll point out to you. There's a calendar here very quickly, so you can see the calendar. And then the other thing you have is work items assigned to me. If the workflows are enabled, then you will see your batch jobs that are running for you, or your work items assignment that have been assigned to you that you need to take action on. I hope this helps you, and I wish you all the good luck in your navigations. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me or